TV show Scout of the Past. In the previous episode, if any of you are familiar with the Tsar forts, which are in Kaunas, then you know that it is structurally very similar. What is this? Really? Did you find the cartridge? And what did we find? Hotchkiss large caliber machine guns. One is blown up. We found the barracks, Scout of the Past. After quite a long break, a few months, since the beginning of the war, I haven't been to the Chernobyl zone. Now I'm going back to the Chernobyl zone, and for now it is difficult to get in, but I think it will be possible. We have such semi-permits, we got them. With a mission, with an appointment, we are not just going for a ride, but the most interesting thing is to measure radiation in the Red Forest, to the place where the Russian army had dug trenches. I'm very curious what the radiation background is. True, since that time, since they moved out, 2 months have passed, almost 2 months, and there was a lot of rain and the wind blew a lot, but still I'd like to see what's left of the radiation. I'll also briefly show you what the checkpoint looks like. This used to be a souvenir kiosk, the main entrance to the road. Here's another souvenir kiosk which was burnt and blown up for no reason. On the ice cream fridge there are still gas masks that were sold here. Chernobyl ice cream and a gas mask, kind of worn out. And here's the checkpoint, shut up, blown up, the barriers are broken. This is like the checkpoint Pripyat. Now it's controlled by the Ukrainian forces. Okay, someone will come to meet us or call us and we will try to get in. It used to be a souvenir kiosk. Here they were selling ice cream. And here's another souvenir kiosk. Souvenirs are scattered around. Here's a city map. Here's the administration of the zone's permit office. Here slept Russian troops. And here I used to come to get the permits. And now just the winds are blowing. Second exit. You can see from which side the shot was. Okay, we got the documents, the permits, we're going into the zone. Here they said, right next to the checkpoint, a fire truck went off the road into the forest to put out the fire and drove over an anti-tank mine and exploded. But the firefighters survived, they were shell-shocked. They said that later even the engine started, everything is fine, only the front track bridge was torn off. We're going to follow the firefighters to the depths of the zone. Ukraine's army, in order to prevent Russian military equipment from entering through Belarus, blew up the bridge in the Chernobyl zone. Now they say a pontoon bridge has been built and we will try to cross that pontoon bridge into the Chernobyl zone. And there's the bridge that it used to be. It's blown up, so we're going through some kind of bypass now. We used to go over this bridge here. Now we'll go over this one. Here's the pontoon bridge. Another checkpoint in the Chernobyl zone. Already in the depths, we're driving. They're not even checking us. We're driving into the city of Chernobyl. Here, an old police car was standing. It was also shot up by the Kazakhs, I mean Russians. Well, the checkpoint of Chernobyl, it's forbidden to film, so I turned up the camera. We're driving into the fire station of Chernobyl. Chernobyl. What happened? What was here? Well, on the 4th, the unit went out to a fire and ran over an anti-tank mine. 5 people were injured, but everyone is alive and well. Eyes, arms, legs are intact. Did they just drive off the road into the forest? Exactly. On the side of the road, right, was the mine? Yes. And they drove over it. But, well, the people were injured, like wounded. People were injured, but nothing critical. And the car, can it be repaired? No, the car will be an exhibit in the War Museum. I see, but they told me that the engine starts as a... Yes, but the chief said that it will be in the War Museum. I see. And then what happened with the fire? Did another crew arrive or... Yes, but through the mines, all of them. Through another way, yes, with the involvement of the deminer service. Ah. So, now they are working here, right? The sappers. I understood. Huge zeal, they said the engine even started, although, of course, the cooling hoses are torn. The windows are broken, but overall, the anti-tank mine caused about this much damage, although it might not have been an anti-tank mine, maybe a smaller one. Sealed up so that no one would climb inside. I am in the Chernobyl zone, in the city of Chernobyl. Here, behind me, there used to be a statue of Lenin. At the beginning of the war, when the Russians entered, they somehow knocked Lenin down, threw him on the ground, but now he is nowhere to be found. They cleaned it up and took it away. It means that in Ukraine, a decommunization is happening at full speed, and that is very pleasing. And now behind me is the Chernobyl city court, where the perpetrators of the Chernobyl disaster were tried. We managed to get into the 10-kilometer zone. Now we are driving through the red forest, and I will try to find those trenches where the Russians had dug in. The radiation is already, the dosimeter is already giving a signal about the increased background. Now it is 3 times higher than the usual radiation background. The maximum sanitary limit is reached, and therefore the alarm is going off. Now 0.8, the usual background is 0.3, and here's the red forest. Over there in the distance you can see the exploited reactor, the sarcophagus built, and here somewhere there should be the trenches that they had dug. Probably closer to the power plant. We need to drive closer. The radiation background is 0.89, almost 10 times higher than the usual background. And there you can see the sarcophagus on the other side of the red forest. We're driving deeper into the Chernobyl zone, even closer to the power plant. Now you can't see the power plant through the trees. The radiation background is at 0.5. No, it's 5.5. I remind you that the norm is 0.1. The maximum permissible sanitary limit is 0.3, 0.7, and the maximum itself is higher, better. In the distance, you can see the Pripyat steel. Something was burning here. There are scattered shell casings of Russian caliber, 5.45B, and more here. They shot at the Pripyat city still. Coming up next, there's no police, no security, absolutely nothing. Now the Chernobyl zone is such a real post-apocalyptic world. How the trenches look, the Katsips dug them. Scout of the past. The Chernobyl zone is not yet demined. The firefighter's car that drove over the mine exploded. They told us to be careful not to drive off the asphalt anywhere, because everywhere is dangerous. Okay, we're trying to drive to Pripyat now, and then on the way back we'll stop. Maybe we'll be able to find those trenches. The radiation background here is 0.69, and here's the sign of the red forest. 0.73. Some mounds, it's better not to walk over those mounds. 0.8. The Ukrainian military is now in charge. The Russians are not here, so they probably put up barriers. Maybe they found something marked it, I don't know. We are trying to get to Pripyat. Pripyat is now a real ghost town. Without tourists, without people, and without police. We're driving to Pripyat. Now we'll cross the bridge of death, and in front should be Pripyat's checkpoint. They said that there's nothing there. Usually there's police and security guarding. A young railway station with abandoned trains. Usually you had to stop at the checkpoint. Here's another building of the checkpoint that should have been standing, but it's not there. It's better not to go inside because it can also be mined. You can hear the cuckoo calling in the city. Usually on Sundays in the Chernobyl zone, during the tourism season, like now, around this time when the tourism season would start, there would be about 1,000 tourists. Now there's none. There's no police, no security, absolutely nothing. Now the Chernobyl zone is such a real post-apocalyptic world, where I am absolutely now alone with my team. There's really no one else here. Such a view, in fact, the feeling is completely different than before I was in the Chernobyl zone. Pripyat's hotel, Polish, the main square of the city, and the culture house Energetic. You really need to look under your feet because it can be mined, there can be landmines, there can be so-called stretches with grenades. The military told us to be very, very, very careful. The radiation background has not increased, 1 microsievert, as it always was. There's an apartment building with the Soviet Union's emblem on top. Carefully looking under your feet so that there are no troubles and problems. We came to Pripyat's amusement park. Here's the Ferris wheel of Pripyat. Empty, quiet, not a single person. Only the constant beeping of the dosimeter. Well, here's the place where the Russians dug trenches. The radiation background is 0.32. Well, it's not much. 3 times higher than the usual radiation background and slightly higher than the maximum permissible sanitary limit. Well, it increases to 0.33. I don't know whether to go deeper. I don't want to risk it because it could be mined, and in fact no one has been here yet. I've only seen pictures from the road, and probably it's not worth it. I'll try to zoom in on what the trenches look like. 0.38. Well, yes, here is the edge of the red forest. Further, there is Pripyat. Here they set up a checkpoint and organize the security of this road. On the road, 0.36-6 tracks are visible on the asphalt. A little more than 0.33. And the sand, the dog here. Sand 0.31. Well, at least here on the road there's no big tragedy. The radiation background has even turned off the alarm, 0.28. This is the very edge of the red forest. The red forest is on the other side, a little further. So yes, there is a lot of radiation here, but not tragically much. It's not like it's very, very dangerous to health. Of course, if you dig deeper into the sand, the entire radiation layer, the radioactive substances are a little deeper under the ground. Because the first thing is that the rain washed it down. The second thing is that the groundwater also washed everything away. The trees dropped their leaves, the leaves rot. A layer forms on top, which slightly protects, holds the radiation that was here when the nuclear power plant exploded. However, here on the road, 0.33, but if you dig a little deeper, at least 20 centimeters under the ground, the radiation background is much higher, because all those dust particles are washed down from the surface. There should be much more. In fact, even near the edge of the road, the radiation background is much higher, but I don't want to risk going there, because it can really be dangerous. There can be explosives left, it can be mined. The deminers haven't been here yet. The military told us not to go into those trenches. Such things left, you can't touch them in any way. There may be all sorts of things left under them. Set up Presley, set up some furniture. Look, sandbags at the checkpoint left by the orcs. Katsap's set up security now. The locals live here, but they didn't pick it up. And here is the whole sarcophagus and exploded the reactor from Afan. The employees have already returned. One of the security workers came up to me, explained where it's possible to photograph, where it's possible to film. Many rules. Everyone is still tense, so I had a few serious conversations about what I'm filming and what I'm doing here. But everything is fine. I filmed, I photographed everything, I have material. And if you enjoyed this video, leave a comment, click subscribe, and be the first to see our latest journeys. And of course, don't forget to support Ukraine. In the next episode, you won't believe what I'm going to show you today. Today we arranged access to the former NATO headquarters. It used to be an air defense headquarters. I thought that the largest underground military structure was the Region, but these are more impressive. I mean, it's like a city underground, streets, and here's a house on the side.